if it wasn't for a book that was handed down from one of his ancestors, we may not celebrate Matariki the way we do now.
His last words to me were, knowledge that isn't shared isn't knowledge. And I've really kept that as a mantra in terms of how Matariki's been brought back. A large portion of that owes itself to the knowledge that's contained within that manuscript.
Just had a really amazing conversation with, an amazing man, besides the fact that he supports New South Wales and he decided to wear a rubbish New South Wales jersey on my podcast. What a disgrace. Oh. You're not wearing that in the podcast, are you?
You wouldn't be upset if I was there. That's legit.
To be honest, I really don't know too much about Matariki, so it was a great opportunity for me to ask, what is Matariki? What's its origin story? How do we celebrate it?
Those stars are the oldest and most well-recorded group of stars in human history.
Wow.
They are painted on a cave in southern France 17,000 years ago.
As a nation, as a people, I think if we implement what Matariki is about, I think the world will be a better place. So don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Dr. Rangi, enjoy. This podcast is made by the amazing team at Fanaticals. They put up with me, so they're pretty epic. Before we get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to all the team at Pacific Business Trust. They're supporting over 2,500 Pacific businesses, entrepreneurs and leaders just like me. So they have all the support that you need there. So for us, it was marketing, setting up a website, emails, all these different things that you don't know until you need to know. And they can be really challenging times. It can seem like you're at the bottom of this mountain and you just don't know where to start. And what they can do is help you to get started, and they walk alongside you the whole way up. So if you're a budding entrepreneur or you want to start a business, or you might already have a business and just need some help, go over, check them out, look up Pacific Business Trust and register. Sign up for help. Never be embarrassed to ask for help. You will not regret it. Trust me, I don't. But for now, enjoy the episode. Kia ora, bro.
Kia ora.
Rangi Mātāmua. How's it going, my bro?
Good.
Do you want to sit down your jacket?
Look, I thought about you as I was coming in today. I saw you on one of your shows and you had this disgusting maroon colour on. I thought Matariki rose this morning and the stars were very blue. And
that's all.
Sorry, bro. I just had to.
You wore that specially for me, didn't you?
I wore it specially for today.
At least you're zipping it. It's like, you've turned your patch inside out. What have you been up to, bro?
Busy time for me, man.
Yeah.
So the Matariki holiday is upon us, and it's just pretty much taken over my life for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And busy time.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm half Māori from Maniapoto and half Samoan, but I don't know too much about Matariki, and it seems to have had a resurgence. Is it would you call it a resurgence? Like, it's really...
Yeah. Well, not a lot of people did know about it.
Yeah.
But right across Polynesia, the Pacific, every island in Polynesia, you'll find Matariki. That's the name that they call the cluster of stars, the Pleiades, on Easter Island in Rapa Nui, in Hawaii, Samoa, Tonga, right across, and here in Aotearoa. And before, I guess, the arrival of other cultures, it was the main celebration marking the beginning of our new year. But as we became probably Christianized and colonized, we did away with traditional celebrations and we celebrated things that we imported from the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
Easter, Christmas. And so not a lot of people grew up with it. And I think it's made its way back into popular culture and part of, the fabric of who we're becoming as a nation.
Yeah. And like for a lot of people, it's a public holiday.
Yeah.
But what's the importance of it?
It's a cluster of stars that here in Aotearoa rises just before the sun in the morning, so when it's in that position that we're around the shortest day of the year. So it's when we celebrate our new year.
Wow.
In the other side of the globe, they celebrate New Year's in winter. And so did we. But we imported a different calendar.
Yeah.
So now we celebrate it in the middle of Christmas. And our ancestors, they celebrated in winter because they knew the summer would be returning. And it really was a time where people, three main things, that Matariki represents. It was a time that we reflected on the people that we'd lost throughout the year. And we actually have a ceremony where we call out their names because we believe in that moment their spirit travels into the cosmos and becomes a star for eternity in the sky. We celebrate the present like it's the winter feast, feasting, sleeping in, doing all of the things that we find enjoyment in, and we come together and celebrate each other. Really important for well-being, so we check in with each other. The third thing we do is we plan for the future, so we try and get together and talk about what our goals are going to be, our aspirations collectively, individually. It's a check-in time. It's a time of well-being. We reconnect to nature, reconnect to everyone. You're meant to slow down at this time of year. Just take a period of time off and just be with those, our loved ones and our family.
With our ancestors, with Matariki, how long was that period where we'd slow down? And
it was probably around a month-long period. Yeah, like you think about it. We're part of nature, right, as humans, and so we're meant to cycle like nature. Trees, they go through this period where they have lots of fruit and no fruit, lots of leaves and no leaves. Animals become fat in particular periods of time and very thin. They're active in some parts and not active in other parts. Well, at the moment, they're not active. And so we're meant to be like that. We're meant to cycle and be really busy in the spring, summer, and autumn. And in the winter, your food store houses are full. You've got lots of food around. It's been collected, and so you feast and you relax and you take time. And I think in the modern world, it's something that's really important because we don't take time, we just rush from one thing to the next. This is our period of pump the brakes, spend time with loved ones and relax.
Yeah, there's something to that, bro? I think, you're right, because I was rushing just to get here, My life seems like it's one big rush.
Yeah. Well, some idiot decided, let's have a holiday. And then I'm the only, it's not very holiday-ish for myself, I'll be honest.
How did you get into this,
It's a long story. It's a bit of a story. So my family comes from a very small community in the middle of the Urewera forest. I come from two main communities, Ruatahuna and Waikare Moana. An ancestor of mine in the late 1800s was known in our community as an astronomical expert. Māori astronomy study. And he wrote a manuscript, 400 pages, where he records 1,000 Māori stars and 100 or so constellations and sun and moon. And on his deathbed in his 1930s, he gave it to my grandfather.
Wow.
My grandfather had it all of these years. And in the 1990s, I went to university and Matariki was just starting to be talked about. I come home one day to him and I said, hey, you know anything about Matariki? And he went to his cupboard and came back with this book, and I've studied it since that time, never thinking that I'd get into this field. But in 2002, he passed away, and on his deathbed, he said to me, look, that book's an heirloom, so hold on to it, but the knowledge in there, find a way to share it. I think, he thought that there would be benefits for people in sharing knowledge. His last words to me were, knowledge that isn't shared isn't knowledge. And I've really kept that as a mantra and just spent the rest of my life since then finding ways to share that knowledge and be part of sharing knowledge with different communities.
When you first, got that book, what was your thoughts, bro?
I actually opened it and saw how dense and how, and I was like, do you just have a truncated version? It was like I'm 19, 20 years old, the last thing I want to do is start reading old manuscripts. And I gave it back to him, actually. And a year passed, and then it dawned on me what it was. So I went back and asked him, can I have it? And he said, look, you can, but, it's really precious knowledge. And so you treat it with care and respect.
Yeah.
And, and so since then, I know what a treasure it is. And much of what we do in terms of how Matariki's been brought back, a large portion of that owes itself to the knowledge that's contained within that manuscript.
Man, that's amazing, eh? And you say, the last 10 years have been really busy. Is that when it's really started to come back?
Yeah, and, I'd started to do a lot of work in the space and started doing a lot of public lectures and getting out to different communities and talking to people. And then in 2017, I released a book on Matariki. And I thought to myself, if I release the book, I won't have to talk about it as much. Well, that was a mistake because it just upped the ante. Then in 2020, I can't, it's a story, man. I got this email from I think it was one of the secretaries for the Prime Minister.
Wow.
Said, can you just jump online? And I thought I was jumping online with, the person in the email. And I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but actually I was outside. I think I was weed eating. I had this big straw hat on and a pair of overalls. This is a true story. And then I thought, meeting. I'm about 5 minutes late because, I run late to pretty much most things. And I rocked up and opened up the screen and there's the Prime Minister and the cabinet.
You're outside with a straw hat on.
And I've got a straw hat on and overalls. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Anyway, she said to me, do you think we're ready as a nation for Matariki to be a public holiday? And I had no idea. But I said, absolutely, we are. Yeah. Opportunity that I didn't want to see pass up because I believed in the values of it. They speak to the best parts of who we are as people, sharing, respect, connecting to the environment, coming together to celebrate who we are. So I suppose I might have lied and said, yep. And she asked me to set up a committee and establish the holiday, and that's what we've done. So since 2022, we're in year 5 now.
Geez, time's flown.
Hey, 5 years, and not only is it here in Aotearoa, but last year, Tahiti celebrated their inaugural Matariki holiday. So it's spreading back out across the Pacific as well.
When you formed your committee, was there much pushback when you were trying to, bring in the public holiday and the celebration of Matariki?
Not really. I mean, who doesn't want a holiday? It wasn't overly difficult to sell. There was some political toing and froing, like the opposition in Parliament didn't support it. And not because they weren't supportive. I think it was just they didn't want to support the other side of the house. So it was a political thing, but no, there was no one that really pushed back against it. I mean, I guess it's connected to where we are in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's connected to, and I think Kiwis are starting to come of age as a nation. We're starting to realise, actually, instead of looking perhaps to Great Britain to kind of mimic our identity, we have stuff here and stuff that's connected to where we are in the world. And that's becoming a little bit of a, part of our national identity, who we are as we grow as a nation. So, not too much pushback. Yeah.
Because Matariki, I mean, it's not just for Māori, right? It's for everyone.
Those stars are the oldest and most well-recorded group of stars in human history.
Wow.
They are painted on a cave in southern France 17,000 years ago. They're the first astronomical reference in China is to the blossom stars. It's the Freya's chicks or hens to the Vikings. It's in South America, North America, Africa, India, Kratika, and Subaru in Japan. Now, every continent has a celebration, ceremony, or narrative connected to birth, a new life, new year, planting, harvest, associated to those group of stars. So there's not a single person in the country or in the globe who don't descend from people that connect to those stars. So, and then just in the Pacific, it's Matariki.
Yeah.
So it has this Polynesian associationship and connection as well.
Is there any, like we have Matariki. Is there anything else that, from our ancestors that we should bring back? So if we're moving more away from the colonized things like Easter and Christmas and all these things.
I don't want to detract either from the celebrations of Christmas and Easter because they're important to sectors of our population. No, I think Matariki is a wonderful celebration. We should celebrate that, and New South Wales winning the State of Origin last night, bro. That's gotta be a celebration. I just want to say, tomorrow when it rises in the ceremony, I'm thinking of calling out the name of Queensland as one of the people we farewell into the night, one of the dead of the year.
You think that's what happened? Was it just in the stars? Was just Matariki is the reason why? It must have bamboozled the ref.
Oh, look,
some of the calls were disgraceful.
I think I think it was the stars came up. They were very blue last night, so it was just our time.
Oh my God! I've been trying to forget this. I woke up this morning to a barrage of messages at the State of Origin. Most of our staff, my family, they're all New South Wales supporters. And I said, listen, it's just a game. We've got more important things to worry about, like world hunger.
Yeah, true. And Matariki.
So, bro, with Matariki celebrations, what do you have going on?
So have a national broadcast of a ceremony, a traditional ceremony, happens every year. Since 2022, the inaugural celebration was held at Te Papa in Wellington, and then it moved to Rotorua the year after, 23. 24 was in South Island. Last year was in Ohakune, so it moves around to different areas and different regions. This year it's here, Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. There is going to be a traditional celebration that's open to the public and also broadcast live on TV, where you can see they'll actually be doing karakia and karangatu, the different stars in the cluster, because they're connected to the different domains, our environmental domains. So we honour the environment from where we get our sustenance from. We farewell our dead, and we look to the promise of a bright and prosperous future. So there'll be a number of members of parliament there. Ngāti Whātua hosting. In Auckland City Council, every year do wonderful events, and they've got light shows and concerts. But the length of the country, I really, after 5 years, we do know that the stats are showing us that over 65% of the country are doing something to celebrate Matariki. It's after 5 years. So it's gaining traction. I think that's because it's the messages, right? It's about unity and collectivity. And there are no political agendas of Matariki. It's beyond that. Yeah. No one owns the sky. We all connect to it. And it's as simple as coming together and having a meal.
Did you ever think, Bo, that when you had that conversation with your straw hat on out mowing the lawns that here you'd be?
Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be here. I mean, it's taken me around the world. I mean, based on the work that I've been doing in Matariki, I've been to NASA, I've been to Antarctica, I've looked at stars in places like North Dakota, Machu Picchu, been to the Royal Observatory in London.
Wow.
I've been around the world, helped other nations establish their own holidays. It's been a ride.
So you're the holiday maker.
There's a band called the Holiday Makers, isn't it? I mean, it's been a ride and a privilege. If I'm honest, I think back to the words of my grandfather on his deathbed. Your job's to share knowledge, but you don't share it. It's not knowledge; it'll disappear. And he believed, I know he believed that there was benefits for all people. And I'd like to think that I'd done some justice to what he asked me to do, So I always think about that, have I fulfilled his wishes? So that always resonates with me as well.
Yeah, it's like people only remember what you keep telling them, eh? I always say that in BBM. With our leaders, our team leaders, so you got to keep telling people about our origins of BBM.
Yeah,
because if you don't, the people coming in now, they won't know that we started training in muddy fields out in the rain.
That's right. And I mean, like, one of the things I want to say, of all, I've talked about some pretty grandiose kind of things that I've lucky enough to be involved in. But I always tell this story about the moment for me where I felt it had purpose and meaning, and it wasn't a big event. I remember when I started lecturing and talking about and wrote the book about Matariki. And there's this wonderful part of the ceremony where we get a moment to farewell our dead of the year. Because grieving and the process of the way you express your grief is really important culturally and just for individuals, the being able to, in a safe and meaningful place and way, express your grief. Because we all lose people. And if we don't deal with that often, it can carry on and be difficult for us. And so our ancestors would wait for the rise of Matariki. And you'll see that tomorrow as part of the ceremony. And there's a part of the ceremony where they look to the star and they call out the names of the people they've lost and they weep. They hug each other and they talk to each other about the memories of those people and they let them go, and knowing that they'll always be above them as a star. And so I travelled to Aussie. I travelled to Australia talking. It was part of the book launch. And there was this young girl that turned up. And I'll never forget this. It's probably the most pivotal moment, I think, of the whole journey for me. Just this young girl. And she waited after I'd, spoken about Matariki. I was signing books with her mum. And she came up to me and she said, I've got a question. I said, what's your question? She said, I really need to say farewell to my dad. He just passed a few months beforehand. It might have been the month beforehand. Is he there? I was like, looked at her and I said, what do you think? She goes, I think so. Because I need to tell him how much I love him before I send him on his way. And I don't know. I think about that every time I talk about that story. It makes me think of the power of practice and ceremony and allowing people to grieve appropriately, So that for me has made the entire journey worthwhile.
It's something I've never, I lost my sister, Vicky, too soon, cancer, and very close to her. Even, I never forget, I've never really seen my dad cry. And all through, the tangi, he was strong, like never seen. It was not till he went to the church and we removed the lid of the casket and just the wail of pain. And I've never really, released it. So I think I'm going to try put that to practice tomorrow,
I mean, like it's can be quite confronting, right?
Yeah.
And it's not saying that's the moment you have to do it, but it gives us opportunity because you're not doing it on your own, you know. So there's this moment when you're all standing there and they'll call out the names. It goes completely quiet and you're in this moment where it's dark and the cluster and the stars are twinkling, and then people will just start to call out the names of the dead that they're associated to. And you just hear people go, oh, they'll say, that's right. And then there's weeping and you see people embracing each other, you know. And then sometimes they say, oh, I love you, Dad. You know, love you, Mum. I love you, so-and-so. And they weep, and there's this moment where it just gives this emotional outpouring. And, you know, it's that part of the ceremony where we do acknowledge our dead. Then it shifts.
Yeah.
And you shift into this. Now it's time to celebrate us.
Yeah.
And it's a time when we say, how you been? So good to see you. Let's sit down and see how fat we can get in the next 2 days, you know? Let's just binge watch a whole, the whole...
Unfiltered with Dave Vitelli podcast.
Yeah, bro. Followed up by 3 games of State of Origin. But it's this, bro. It's laughter. It's banter. It's interaction. It's that before we get back to our busy lives. This is the essence of Matariki. Tears, laughter, joy, feasting, all those human emotions, they come to the surface at this time.
Yeah. And then it's just thinking of the future.
Then we look and think, okay, you know.
Can we win next year? Because, you know, if Ponga didn't get sent off in the first game, that was a disgrace. We would have been 2-0.
True.
2-1.
If Ponga learnt how to tackle and stop shoulder charging people in the head, I think he wouldn't have got sent off, bro. I mean, the game aside, I think that Matariki is an opportunity not for us to celebrate who we are, but who we want to be.
Yeah.
You know? And who do we want to be? Do we want to be reflection of some of the really, negative stuff that's portrayed, you know, around the world and starting to be reflected in our society? Or do we want to be a vibrant, open, loving, diverse, rich, connected community of people who actually care about each other? You know?
That's what I want.
Yeah.
One of the big things I was thinking about as we were sort of reflecting in BBM is wanting to be content. I don't think I can truly be happy until I'm really just content with things. I think not being content, I guess it has an advantage of I'm wanting to keep pushing, but it's also you're never really happy because you're always wanting
more.
Push for more.
Yeah. That's such a good thing to reflect on too. I wanted to say something to you as well, you know, in all honesty, because I watch your show, and I do get asked to come on a lot of podcasts, and I don't go on a lot of podcasts unless I see the values of Matariki in those podcasts. I see what you do, you know, and I see your podcast and the mahi that you do uplifts communities and enriches people's lives. And those are the values in Matariki as well. So I know this is the busiest time of my year. I've got to leave here and go and have dinner with the Prime Minister.
Wow.
But I wanted to come on today because I really admire your work. I do, and I mean that sincerely. And I just want people to know I'm not getting paid to say that either. But I admire what you do, the way that you work with our communities and uplift people's lives. When we're working to enrich others' lives, I think that's one of the tenets of Matariki. It's this cluster of stars. I have 9, some people have 7. They're all unique, represent different things. But when they rise in the morning, tomorrow morning, they'll rise in unity as one, showing that we can be different and unique but come together as one people. And so I see that's what you do in your life and with your work, and that's the reason why when I got asked to come on, I was like,
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. I think a lot of the times, like, even when I think of Te Wharetapa Whā, like, the stuff we do instinctively because it's who we are. But before I even knew about Te Wharetapa Whā, that's just the way that, we worked in BBM, the way I carried myself. So I appreciate you, bro. Last question, because I know you got to go to the Prime Minister. I don't want to make you too late. Can you ask them for some funding? But, bro, I ask everyone this question. What's your why? What keeps driving you? Was it the promise to your grandpa or your koro?
I think it is. I always reflect on those words that he left me. He was a real, he was a gentleman, he was a real hardworking, honest family man and had values and principles. And I think I've been fortunate. So fortunate to have my grandparents and my parents and the family that I have and some really good and wonderful mentors. And, I suppose I truly believe that culture is a key for prosperity for all of us. And I'm not talking about financial prosperity. What I'm talking about is really prosperity in a way that we can prosper as a people, collectively we can unify and come together. Really easy to, tear things down, to look at the things that we don't do well and complain about others. But, coming together and just to celebrate all the good things that make us who we are. That's my why. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for sharing. When I hear you say that, it's really powerful, bro. And I'm so grateful you came on because just that I can take from it and learn. Like, stop. Just be grateful, and stop complaining about things I can't control, and just keep trying to bring people together. All our people.
Yeah. You got to stop complaining about the referee from last night, bro. Because,
that guy needs to be in rehab. He's obviously got other things on his mind. I mean, that was a pivotal point where he called that. How was that not a knock on?
No, it was a knock on.
I
agree.
And the bunker, he must be doing something else. Because he was not watching the game. Honestly, that's a disgrace. You know what? To be honest, I'm off it. I'm off Origin. We're New Zealanders. We got to celebrate New Zealand things. Up the waz.
Up the waz.
And if they lose, go the All Blacks. Well, bro, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Please keep your jersey on. Jacket zipped up.
Thank you, bro. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Kia ora, bro. Thank you so much for watching, team. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you got something out of this, if it's helped you or someone you know, please go down to the link below and buy us a coffee. It's hard to keep this going, but we must. So please help us to help you. Let's go.